Good morning student, I Purnima welcome you to my class of English, and today I am going to revise the poem When I Set Out for Lyonness. It's a place in Italy and it is written by a very famous poet, Thomas Hardy. So he was a very young architecture. He was not only a poet but he had done the course in architect engineering, and he was a very young architect. The poet went to Lyonness to supervise the renovation work of the church. The place was 100 miles from away. It was winter. The leaves were covered with snow everywhere. Roads, leaves, houses, everywhere it was covered with snow. He was alone and shaky. Now, children, he has to travel alone to a new place. So he was feeling very nervous. He was a bit afraid. He felt alone and shaky. His only companion was the starlight. Nobody was going to accompany him when he set out for Lyonness. His only companions were the star light. He was unsure what situation he would have to face there during his stay in Lyonness. Now, children, he was thinking a lot of ideas were coming in his mind, and he was thinking what his trip would be successful or not, whether he would be successful in his work or not, whether he would be able to do his work carefully or not. And he was not aware, because children, in that place he was not aware of that. Even I think this was his he was going to for his work for the first time also. So no seer could dare make a forecast. Now, children, he wanted to take help to ask for the future. He wanted to predict his future, but he knew nobody would be able to tell him. The wisest magician could not make guess about future. Even if he'll go to the um, magician, the person who do magic, even they won't be able to tell him that what his future will be. So, children, he was thinking and thinking. He was not knowing what to do, and finally he decided that he is ready to do his first job. He will go and supervise the renovation work of the church in Lyonness, and he will face whatever difficulties. He will be there. But when he returned from the place, he was very happy. His eyes alone shone with joy. Now, children, well, he went, what happened, nobody know. But when he came back, his face, there was a joy on his face, and his eyes were shining. Everybody tried silently to guess the reason of his deep and uncommon happiness. Nobody knew that why he went. He must have not have told to everybody about his job. But children, they were guessing. They were not knowing the reason of his deep and uncommon happiness. So this is all described in the poem. I will read the poem first, and then, children, I will be doing the description, and then I will be doing the question and answer. I will be also writing the new words on the board. So now I am going to read the poem. When I set out for Lyonness, 100 miles away, the rime was on the spray, and starlight lit my lonesomeness. When I set out for Lyonness, 100 miles away. So this is the first stanza. Now the second stanza of the poem. What would be Hans at Lyonnais, while I should sojourn there? No prophet durst declare, nor did the wisest wizard guess. What would be chance of Lyonnais, while I should sojourn there? Now, children, the third paragraph. When I returned from Lyonnais, with magic in my eyes, all marked with mute surmise, my radiance rare and fathomless, when I returned from Lyonness with magic in my eyes. So this is the end of the poem, and now I will be telling you about the new words and also about the children about the poem. Okay, so this a young architect, he had to go to Lyonness for some to supervise the renovation work of the church. Until he was feeling very scared to go for the first time. He has to leave his house, his place, and he did not want to go there. He was not knowing what situation he will face there. Okay, so Now, when I set out for Lyonness again, 100 miles away. Set out means started a journey. So here, set out means started a journey. Set out, started a journey. So he is telling when he set out, then children, rhyme is frost or snow. Frost or snow. Rhyme is frost or snow. Spray is leaves. Lit, illuminated, and lonesomeness is loneliness. Okay, so set out is started a journey. Rhyme is frost or snow. Spray, not that spray children which we spray. Spray are the leaves, and lit is illuminated. Lonesomeness is loneliness. So now children, here the poet is telling that when I set for Lyonness, when I have to go to Lyonness, when I have to start my journey for Lyonness, 100 miles away. Children, that journey is 100 miles. That means that place, Lyonness, from the place he was staying, that place was 100 miles away. The rhyme was on the spray. Okay. And children, the whole leaves, spray is the leaves here, and lime here, rhyme is the frost. So whole forest was covered with children leaves. Okay, the and the snow covered the whole children. The snow covered the whole place. Okay, so children, he is telling it was so cold that it was the whole place was covered with snow. Everywhere the snow was there. Leaves were covered with snow. Roads were covered with snow. There was snow on the houses. Okay, children, the journey was 100 miles away, and then that journey from where he was staying was 100 miles away. The rime was on the spray until the whole leaves were covered with frost, with the snow. The rime and starlight lit my lonesomeness, and he was all alone. Nobody was there with him. He was very lonely, and children, the only companion in his loneliness were the starlight. Okay, they were the starlight. When I set out for Lyonness, when he was going, finally, first of all, he was so nervous. He did not feel like going. But after thinking hard, because it was his duty now to supervise the job which he was given. What was the job he was given? To supervise the renovation work of the church. So he was given this job, and he now is thinking it was his first job also, and now he's thinking that now it has become a part of his duty to complete that work. But at the same time, children, he was feeling afraid, he was feeling nervous. Okay, for the first time he was going to that place, and for the first time he was going to do that type of job. So he did not feel like going, and he was feeling very lonely. And he when I set out for Lyonness, 100 miles away, he was 100 miles away from now. So he was feeling all very afraid. So first of all, children, who is the poet here? The poet is a very famous poet, Thomas Hardy. And what was the weather like when the poet set out? So it was very cold. The whole leaves were covered with snow. Why did the poet go to Lyonness? The poet went to Lyonness to children to see the renovation work of the church. What was his only companion? So starlight was his only companion. Which word in the stanza means frost? Children, which word in the stanza means frost? So it is the rhyme. Okay, here it means frost. So once again children, I think I will explain you quickly. That means for the first time the stranger is going to Lyonness. It's a new place for him, and there children he had got a job. What was his job? To supervise the renovation work of the church. Now since he was going for the first time, he was feeling scared. He was feeling how whether he would be able to live alone, or he was thinking whether everything he would be doing all right. He was not knowing anyone there. He was a new person. So children, he was having all these thoughts in his mind. At the same time children, he was feeling nervous whether he would be getting success or not. So all this feeling was with him. So finally children, he goes. Nobody accompanies him, nobody he knows there also. Okay, he's very nervous. Once again I am telling you, and only thing which accompany him were the starlight. Okay, and children, he had to go. He decided that he would go to Lyonness to supervise the renovation work of the church, and which was 100 miles away from the place where he was living. Okay, now I am going to read stanza 2, and I will be discussing you the meaning of stanza 2. What would be chance at Lyonness while I should sojourn there? No prophet duress declare, nor did the wisest wizard guess. What would be chance at Lyonness while I should sojourn there? So children, these are some of the new words which I am going to write it. So now B chance is happen. B chances happen. Okay. Then sojourn is stay, spend some time. Sojourn, stay. Okay. Spend some time. Then prophet, messenger of God. Prophet is a messenger of God. Guess is assume. Okay. So he is telling. Now children, these are the meaning. Be chance means happen. Sojourn means stay or spend some time. Prophet is a messenger of God. Guess means to assume. So now what would be chance at Lyonness? Now children, he is getting nervous, and he had decided to go finally, and finally he tells what will happen at Lyonness while I should sojourn there. When I will be, sojourn means stay there or spend the time there. So he is telling what would happen at Lyonness when I would be staying there. Okay, whether I would be comfortable or not, whether I would be able to do my work or not. Okay, no prophet does declare. So he is telling even if he will go to some prophet, okay, uh, and they won't even declare that what would happen to me there. Nor did the wisest wizard guess. Even if I will go to the wizard, the person who learned the magic, who tells something by the use of magic, even he won't be able to guess and tell me what would happen to me. Okay, at Lyonness, while I should stay there. So, children, what was the Hardy purpose to visit Lyonness? He wanted to visit Lyonness to supervise the renovation work of a church. Okay, so that's why he wanted to visit Lyonness. All right, now it is told here that what would be Hans at Lyonnais, that what would happen to me at Lyonnais. In fact, he was feeling scared, he was feeling afraid. What would, and he was feeling nervous, as his first job, and he was thinking whether he would be doing his job in a good manner or no. So all this thing, when he was thinking, he felt a bit nervous, and he was all alone. So he is thinking what would happen to me when I would be staying and doing my work at Lyonnais. And he thought, even if I will go to some prophet, even he won't be able to tell me the exact position, exact situation. Nor did the wizard guess. Even if I will go to the magician, wizard means magician, even he or she will not be able to tell me that what would happen of me in the Lyonnais. What would be chance at Lyonnais? What would happen to me at Lyonnais while I should sojourn there, when I will be staying there? So children, for what purpose he went there? He went there to Lyonnais to supervise the renovation work of a church. What was the poet uncertain to? What situation he would have to face there during his stay at Lyonnais? So he was in Lyonnais. He was thinking hard at what he would be, a situation he would be facing, whether he would be comfortable or not, whether he would be able to complete his work or not. So all these things, children, making him worried. Who is prophet? A messenger of God is prophet. Who is the poet of above line, children? The poet of the above lines is Thomas Hardy. What does the word sojourn in the above stanza mean? Rest, achievement, short stay, happiness. So it is, sojourn means, children, short stay. Okay, so this is all about Lyonnais, how he is feeling afraid, he is feeling scared. Now the third paragraph. When I returned from Lyonnais with magic in my eyes, all marked with mute surmise, my radiance rare and fathomless. When I returned from Lyonnais with magic in my eyes. So children, now he is telling, now I will be writing the new words of the third paragraph. Okay. So magic is here. Magic means here in this poem, a mysterious joy. Magic means a mysterious joy. Then marked. Marked means noticed. Marked means notice. Then mute is quiet. Mute is quiet. Surmise means guess. Surmise. Surmise means guess. Radiance means inner joy. And finally, fathomless is very deep. So children, these are the meaning of the new words. Magic, a mysterious joy. Marked means noticed. Mute means quiet. Surmise means guess. Radiance means inner joy. Fathomless is very deep. Okay. So these are there. So when I returned from Lyonnais with magic in my eyes, now he is telling, finally children, he went to Lyonnais. Whatever he has done, we don't know. Nobody is aware of his work. But when he returned, there was a magic in his eyes. Okay, so we don't know, children, what happened with him at Lyonness, but whatever happened, okay, um, when he returned from children Lyonness, there was a magic in his eyes. What do you mean by magic in his eyes? Magic in his eyes means, children, he was looking, a mysterious joy was there seen in his face and his eyes. He seems to be very happy. He was appearing very happy. There was a mysterious joy in his eyes, all marked with mute surmise. All marked with children. Everybody has noticed that his face and eyes were full of happiness. My radiance rare. Radiance is inner joy. And fathomable. There was a very deep, okay, joy, inner joy was seen. And when I returned from Lyonness with magic in my eyes. Okay, so when he returned, nobody knew, children, what he faced. But when he returned, there was a mysterious joy in his eyes, and everybody has seen the radiance, the inner joy in his face, which was very deep. So, children, this proof that he has got success in his work. Okay, so the poet visited Lyonness, which is a sacred city. Lyonness is a sacred city. The purpose of visiting this place was to supervise the renovation work of a church. Then, what was his fear before he had set out, children? He feared that he might fail to do the needful, or he might not get success in his work, or what he must be facing a lot of problems. These were some of his fears were there. Now, what brought the real glow on his face when he returned? The success that he achieved. Children, that brought a real glow in his face what he had achieved there. What does the word fathomless in the above stanza mean? Very deep. What is the meaning of fathomless? Very deep. So, children, with this I have completed the poem, and now is the time to do the question and answer. So, in the first word, find words that show that it is very cold. So, children, the word rhyme shows that it was very cold. That it was late evening. The word starlight shows that it was late evening. That the traveler was alone. Children, the word lonesomeness shows that the traveler was alone. Something happened at Lyonness. It was improbable, impossible, unforeseeable. So, children, the answer will be unforeseeable. Pick out 2 lines from Stranger 2 to justify your answer. So, no prophet durst declare, nor did the wisest wizard guess what would be chance at Lyonness. So, this was the line. Okay. So, children, now what inspired Hardy to write this poem? When I set out for Lyonness, what he has, children, what inspired Hardy. So the poet set out for Lyonness to supervise renovation work of a church. He writes the poem to celebrate his successful attempt. So, children, he was invited to the Lyonness to see the renovation work of his church, and he returned back successful. There was a mysterious joy in his eyes. There was an inner radiance on his face, which proves that he got a success there. And he was so happy that this inspired this pure happiness from which came deep down from his heart, inspired him to write this poem. Now, children, one more question is there. What does the poet tell about his feeling before he left for Lyonness and after his return? Children, before he left for Lyonness, he was very, very nervous. Okay, he was feeling shaky. In fact, he was not knowing how to face the situation. He had a fear that he might fail to do his job there. Maybe it was his first job and he was lonely. He did not know anyone there. So, children, he was thinking that suppose if he fail, then what would happen to him? Okay, but nobody could foresee the future. He wanted to ask about his job for the to from the magician, from the prophet, but he knew that nobody would be able to tell about his future. But and after his but when he returned from Lyonness, children, everybody saw a mysterious joy in his eyes. Okay, there was a mysterious joy in his eyes. Eyes. Everybody noted that, children. Though he did not share what happened to him there, but everybody know the radiance on his face. That means there was an inner joy coming from the deep bottom from his heart that was seen on his face, and which proof that inner joy proved that whatever for what purpose he went for, he had got a success there. What did people notice on poet's return from the parish? On his return from parish, people noticed two things about him. Children, this is not written in the poem, but I would like to tell you. That's why I framed this question. A new glow in his eyes, a radiance on his face, and a crumpled piece of paper sticking out his coat pocket. Everybody has seen a crumpled piece of newspaper which was coming out from his pocket. What was Hardy's purpose to visit to Lyonness? Hardy's purpose to visit Lyonness that to supervise the renovation work of the church. What was the poet uncertain about? The poet was uncertain about whether he would be able to complete it. He was feeling nervous as it seems that it was his first job, and the weather was not favorable. He was not knowing anybody there to whom he could ask for the help, so he was feeling uncomfortable. Okay, so children, this question is that what was the poet uncertain about? So he was uncertain because the conditions were not favorable, so he was uncertain whether he would be able to do his job successful or not. Now, Thomas Hardy, this in the long question, children, it can come to write the summary of the poem. So we can write, as a young architect, the poet went to Lyonness to supervise the renovation work of the church. He was feeling afraid, he was feeling nervous, he was not knowing how to face the situation. He was all alone there, nobody was there to help him, and it seems it was his first job. Now, he had told that the place was 100 miles away, it was not near also, and the weather condition was worse. All the leaves were covered with snow, and the children, nobody was with him. He was all alone, and he started feeling lonely, and he started trembling from inside. He was feeling shaky. His only companion was the starlight. He was unsure what situation he would have to face there during his stay in Lyonness. So he was not knowing that what situation he would be facing when he would be staying at Lyonness. No seer could dare make a forecast. Now, children, he was so nervous that he wanted to go to the magician to ask for his future. He knew, but he won't be able to tell him. He also started thinking that he should go towards the prophet to take help, but he knew that he will not get any help from them also. Even the wisest magician could not make guess about his future. So finally, what he decided that he should go and face the situation, whatever the situation would be, he would be ready to face it. And he did not know that what will happen when he would be staying there, but then he was ready to face the situation. The condition was not favorable, nobody was there to help him, nobody was there to advise him. In fact, he has to supervise the renovation or work of the church, and the weather was very cold. The only companion of him was the starlight. So children, he was feeling scared at what would happen to him in the future. But when he returned, finally he went there, nobody knew what happened. But when he returned from the place, he was very happy. His eyes shone with joy. Everybody tried silently to guess the reason of his deep and uncommon happiness. There was a radiance on his face. There was a children mysterious joy they could feel in his eyes. So it seems that he had got success. Whatever work he had gone for, he had done a success. At the end, on his return from the parish, children, people noticed two things. One was a new glow in his eyes and a crumbled piece of paper coming out from his coat pocket. So with this, I end my poem here. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.